Hey, it's good news. It's Keith Lemon, the movie. It's at number 5.
Well, all that happened was I came back and there was a load of movies I hadn't seen, and I said on Twitter, which one should I go and see? And everyone went, "Oh, go see Keith Lemon the movie." And what everyone seemed to say was, "Go see Keith Lemon the movie. It's terrible, but it'll be funny because you'll go and see it, and that'll be funny." Well, it wasn't, and it isn't. And incidentally, you joined in this in a kind of playground bullying sort of way.
No, I just said it's what you do. You're a film critic.
I said, "Do I have to go and see it?" And you said, "Yes, you do." And your words were, that's your job. I play records, you see movies. To which I replied, "Yes, but you don't play all records. In fact, have you ever played a record by Keith? What's the guy who plays Keith Lemon called?"
Do the review.
No, this is the review. The review is this. I went to Eastleigh to see Keith Lemon. I've not seen the television programme. So right from the very, very beginning, there's a part of me which thinks, well, is it fair anyway? Because I'm not, I don't know the television programme. I'm not familiar with it. So all the running gags I don't get. Sitting there watching it and feeling my life force eking away. The things I can tell you definitively, there were 6 people in the audience, maybe 7. I think one of them didn't come back. There was almost no laughter during the whole of the film. The story is the Keith Lemon character invents a mobile phone with a lemon on it. We do have I'll tell you what, we have a clip. We asked
good.
No, it's not good. But here's the clip. We'll play you the clip. This is the only clip we could play you. Here we go.
Well, what do you got to work with?
No. Apart from this high-tech phone where the buttons are being replaced with no buttons. But the fellow that gave it to me couldn't even give it away. Apart from the one he gave to me. He gave them all to me.
I got it.
What?
What if we remarket the phone with a new identity?
What do you mean?
Put your name to it. You said you always wanted to be a household name.
I do.
Hopefully they'll buy it, and you'll make enough money to pay Terrible Tony.
Do you mean Evil Steve?
Exactly. Problem solved.
Yeah, Ruski! More importantly, though, do you think we'll have enough money to pay for a enlargement for myself?
I mean, what? Well, I mean, that's
terribly irritating.
No, that's how much of that did you listen to? I mean, long that clip was about 42 seconds long. Exactly, it's about 42 seconds.
It never was.
So I sat there, and at one point in the cinema, I dropped this 5-penny piece which I brought in. I dropped it down the side of the chair, right? And I put my hand down the side of the chair to try and get it back because I'm, mean. And as you put your hand down the side of the chair, there's all manner of filth and scrunge and, putrescence and stuff that's been dropped down the side of the chair by everyone else because it's impossible. And you kind of stick your fingers into it. You go, oh, God, that's disgusting. Oh, that's really horrible. But then I realised that it was less horrible than watching the screen. So I spent a good 15, 20, 25 minutes rootling round, getting all manner of, really foul filth under my fingernails in an attempt to retrieve this 5-penny piece because it was less revolting than watching the screen. Now, obviously, there's a great tradition in Britain of comedy shows making awful movies, Holiday on the Buses, Are You Being Served, the movie When They Go Abroad, Porridge, the movie, League of Gentlemen, the movie, which was, all over the place, Ali G, the movie. This is worse than Ali G, the movie, which is really saying something. Kevin and Perry Go Largest Citizen Kane in comparison with it. But what I was aware of all the way through is, okay, maybe it is that there is a target audience that I'm not part of, but here's the thing. If you found any of the unbelievably puerile gags funny, then you'd be 13 tops, right? The film's got 15 certificates, so the film has a certificate which prevents anybody who would find it funny going to see it. The other thing which is really bizarre, and I promise you I'm not making this up, everyone who tweeted me on Twitter, and loads of people did, went, "It's terrible, go see it. It's terrible, go and see it, because you'll save us from seeing it." But the decision was made, it's terrible. And even the people that saw it, no, it's terrible. So here's my chat. I thought it was the least fun I've had in a cinema, and I actually came out feeling like I wanted to bathe in Clorox.
Is it better than Sex Lives of the Potato?
No, this is where I got to. It's not as hateful as Sex Lives of the Potato Men, which is, I think, a hateful film. It's a cast. It's a guest list. There's all these cameos. There's Chris Moyles, Jed Wood, Peter Andre, Kelly Brook, Philip Schofield, Fern Cotton, David Hasselhoff, Holly Willoughby, Philip Schofield. When Philip Schofield was in, turned up. I did feel that parental thing about I'm not angry. I am just really I'm really disappointed. And all you could think was, Genuinely do not understand. Do not understand. It's not as hateful as Sex, Lives of Potato Men. It is as awful as Sex, Lives of Potato Men. It's one of those films which, in the past, had the UK Film Council been involved in it, everybody would have said this is the reason for shutting down the UK Film Council. But I want to ask this genuinely. Is there anyone out there, anyone at all, who did go to see it and found it funny? Because so far, of the hundreds, and I mean hundreds of people who've been, sending me messages about it on Twitter, I don't have one from anyone who has a good word to say about it.
Maybe it's an age thing, so everyone who follows you on Twitter is of a particular...
Well, that's entirely possible. It may be that I appeal only to the over 50 demographics. That's perfectly fine. But as I was saying, the problem is if you were puerile enough to enjoy the film, then you're not old enough to get into it. To physically get into the cinema. It has a restrictive certificate that will not allow you into the cinema. It's like... So consequently, but it's at number 5 in the box office. Here's what I think. I genuinely think that it's number 5 in the box office and everyone who went to see it thought it was rubbish. And I think it's living proof of that argument that just because people pay to see a film doesn't mean they enjoy it. Just because a bunch of people went to see a film doesn't mean they like it. If you want to know whether they like it, charge them on the way out. I honestly... literally rootling around for a 5-penny piece in 4 years of fungal growth down the side of a cinema seat was more entertaining than turning to watch the screen and just having to. There we go. I'm not cross.
You're just very disappointed.
No, I'm not even disappointed, well, except with Philip Schofield. If I see Philip Schofield, who I don't know, but if I do, I will have to remonstrate with him. Because I like Philip Schofield.
Philip, if you're listening, you can...
you know Philip Schofield, right?
Yeah,
Would you tell him off for me?
Well, I haven't seen him for 20 years. So.
And that's what happens. He ends up in the Keith Lemon movie.
Yeah, he wouldn't have done that if he was still in the cupboard with Gordon the Gopher, would he?
No.
Mark Harrison on Facebook.
Did he like it?
I saw this on Sunday. It's one of the worst films I've ever seen. Okay. And just to add insult to injury, it's badly made as well.
Oh, it's horribly made.
There are a lot of clumsy edits and issues with the sound being out of sync, whether dialogue or the Billy Ocean live performance. The very subtitle is a slap in the face. I'm disgusted to have to call something this awful a film.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a film. Somebody said on a scale of if 1 is look northwest and if 10 is north by northwest, where is this? I mean, it would insult look by northwest to say it's 1. It's look by northwest. Look northwest.
Anyway, it took £1,196,310, and it's at number 5. So clearly, there are enough people who've been to see it, and if you like it, send us an email.
So just one of you telling me that it's funny. Just one.
Yeah, just one. And
just
if you could
one.
Organise between you.
Have I made that clear? Just one.
Keith Lemon is at number 9.
So Keith Lemon has dropped down to number 9 from, where was it last week? Was it number 2 or number 3? It seems to have sort of plummeted, and hopefully next week it'll be out of the top 10. I mean, I thought it was just a horrible, fungal mess of a movie, and as I said last week, I just enjoyed rooting around in the scrunge down the side of the cinema seat, attempting to retrieve a lost 5p piece, more than I did watching the film. It is shockingly terrible. There's no point in getting cross about it. The only thing that I'm cross about is that when I came back, I said, OK, I'm going to try and catch up with the movies that have been out while I'm away. And everybody said, oh, go and see Keith Lemon the film. I have yet to hear anyone say that they saw it and enjoyed it. Last week I issued a challenge for somebody to tell me that they'd seen it and enjoyed it. It seemed to me that people only told me to go and see it because they knew how unpleasant it would be. It was every bit as unpleasant as they'd expected. Do you have any messages from anyone out there in listening land who actually enjoyed it, Simon?
Alexander Stanbury on an email.
Oh, you're kidding.
My mother recently dragged me to our local World of Cine to see the Keith Lemon movie. She's 63, I'm 32. Whilst I do enjoy Lee Francis, I was a bit reluctant to sit through the entire movie. However, the fundamental truth is that some people like filthy humour regardless of age or gender. And where Lee Francis goes, there's always a host of celebrities not far behind. There is something wonderfully grotesque about his take on Mel B or his fawning over Kelly Brook's assets. We live in such a pornographic society, and Francis's characters are an accurate reflection the way we fetishise parts of the body, fame and celebrity. For me, this film wasn't hugely unlike the Borat movie, but sadly aimed at people who probably don't get what the lead comedian is trying to send up. Perhaps this is because he does this with too much affection for his celebrity cohorts. As the good junior Dr. King pointed out, he clearly needs much better writers. That's Alex.
Yeah, so that's not somebody saying they enjoyed it.
I'm just sort of giving context.
Yeah, that's
Aidan Martin in Gravesend. There are literally no words negative enough to describe Keith Lemon the film, but I'll give it a good go.
Just look at that phrase, no words negative enough. That's how much more negative could it be? None more negative.
But he then provides It's rubbish.
Some.
I don't want to live in this country anymore. It's not funny or amusing or enjoyable or interesting or engaging or intelligent or creative in the slightest. I think 3 members of the audience laughed once at different times in the film. It's awkward how not funny the film is, as it tries so hard to get a single laugh out of anyone. I was traumatised. It's not even laughably bad. It's appalling, repulsive, juvenile, soul-draining, and so on. How about this from Robbie Owen on our Facebook page, which is going great guns. I saw The Possession and Keith Lemon back-to-back yesterday. One was funny, the other was horrific. I'll let you work out which was which.
Okay, well, that's brilliant, because that's also taken out The Possession, which I haven't seen, which is in at number 5. So I'm assuming, therefore, that means that The Possession was funny and the Keith Lemon was horrific. It is like Athlete's Foot. I mean, it is about as much fun as a very bad dose of Athlete's Foot. And the only thing I'm thrilled about is it appears to be dropping like a stone out of the charts.